The chamber echoed with the low hum of 100 alien languages translated simultaneously, overlapping like a storm of whispers. At the center of the grand rotunda, orbited by floating data drones and ceremonial banners, stood the 12 members of the Galactic Council. Draped in ceremonial sashes, feathers, scales, or chitin, they radiated the smugness of a tribunal certain of its own wisdom. The Terran ambassador stood alone on the platform, posture stiff with restrained outrage. "Let the ruling be entered into the record," intoned Councilor Vrel, a serpentine being of indigo scales and 6 cold, unblinking eyes. Humanity of Terra, though clever and emotionally rich, has demonstrated a consistent pattern of cowardice. Your species flees from total war, hesitates in the face of extinction, and fractures under pressure. You are, regrettably, unsuitable for full council membership. The ambassador opened his mouth, then closed it. Any argument would sound like begging. He bowed with the robotic precision of someone who had just swallowed a glass of nails, then turned to leave. Behind closed doors, Terra burned with fury. It wasn't just the insult. It was the condescension. The council had dismissed centuries of human perseverance, sacrifice, and ingenuity with a single word: cowardice. The vote had passed narrowly, but the damage was done. So humanity did what it often did when cornered. They became creative. A week later, the council received an official communication. Earth accepted the judgment on one condition. They would nominate a single human to undergo a trial, an unprecedented test of character and capability. No delegation. No armies. One human. The council laughed. Then they agreed. Lieutenant Commander Jack Brick Briggs stepped off the diplomatic cruiser, like a man walking into a job interview he did want but was damn well going to ace. 6'3", built like a slab of military-industrial defiance, and wearing a pressure-adaptive uniform so pristine it looked painted on. At his side walked Dr. Amara's son Eli Park and Tasha Mendoza, Earth's civilian specialists, hastily compiled into a support team for the mission. Amara adjusted her glasses and muttered, "You couldn't have picked someone less threatening?" Brick gave her a sideways glance. "You're here for brains. I'm here because someone called my species a coward." Eli Park, wiry and wide-eyed, practically skipped alongside them. "This is so exciting. Did you see the gravity lattice in the docking bay? It's—" "Focus, Lai." Amara cut in, tone clipped. Tasha rolled her eyes, half her attention on the tiny holoscreen embedded in her palm. "Wake me when the aliens try to eat us." They entered the council hall to silence, so pointed it felt like a weapon. Cameras hovered. Delegates whispered. Councilor Vrel surveyed them. "Your delegation is unconventional." Brick stepped forward. "Not a delegation, just a witness team." "And you, human, are Earth's representative?" Brick nodded once. "Lieutenant Commander Jack Briggs, Navy SEAL, retired." "Why you?" Vrel's tongue flicked between syllables. Brick shrugged. "I volunteered." The council exchanged murmurs, amused or annoyed. It was hard to tell with beings that had eyelids that blinked sideways or skin that shimmered like oil. Then came the traditional greeting challenge, a ritualized display of posture and presence meant to establish nonverbal dominance. Vrel signaled. From a side chamber strode a hulking Phyrexian warden, 3 meters tall and armored in ritual bone plating. It slammed its forefist to its chest and roared, a sound like tectonic plates grinding. Brick didn't move. No stance. No salute. No expression. He just stood there, arms loose, face unreadable, as if he'd faced down bigger threats before breakfast, and they'd come off worse. The Phyrexian hesitated. Silence fell again. Brick tilted his head and said, deadpan, "Was that it?" The warden growled, then bowed. The council didn't laugh, but they didn't speak either. "You have one opportunity to prove humanity's worth," Vrel said at last, claws clicking. "A station near the unstable star Jorwin. 5 has gone dark. All rescue attempts have failed. You will go. You will succeed or confirm our judgment." "Understood," Brick said. As they were escorted out, Eli leaned toward him. "Did you know that bowing was the correct response?" "Nope." "Then why'd you just stand there?" Brick's voice was flat. "Because fear's a choice. and I figure if I didn't blink, they'd wonder what I was capable of. Tasha grinned. Okay, I'm starting to like you. They boarded the shuttle to Jorwin, 5 in silence, each processing what lay ahead. Amara finally spoke. We don't even know what we're walking into. They didn't send engineers. They didn't send scientists. They sent us. They sent him, Eli said quietly, nodding at Brick. We're just a support. Brick checked the mission file again. Sparse data. Critical failures. High radiation. Possible hostiles. No survivors. His jaw flexed. I've seen worse, he said. No one asked where. As the stars streaked past the window, Tasha flipped her holoscreen closed. Well, she said, kicking her boots up on the bulkhead, let's go make the galaxy eat its words. The station came into view like a dying god's crown, fractured, burning, and barely tethered to the orbit of a churning, blood-orange star. Jorwin, 5 boiled beneath it, its solar flares lashing out like the claws of something enraged by its own decay. The crew of 4 stood in the shuttle's viewing bay, bathed in flickering amber light. A slow mechanical voice from the comm system filled the silence. Warning. Terraforming Station Theta, 12 operating at 17% capacity. Core instability detected. Recommend full evacuation. Amara frowned, hands tightening on the console railing. 17% isn't operating. That's waiting to die. Brick, already halfway into his exosuit, glanced over. Then we stabilize it. Tasha raised a skeptical eyebrow. You do realize the last 6 teams never made it out? The Council is not sending us to save the station. They're sending us to make a dramatic example. Eli stepped between them, a notebook in hand, actual paper by some miracle. The station's originally Threxian design. According to the specs I found, it uses harmonic stabilizers synced with the star's pulse to keep orbit. If those fall out of tune, it falls in, Amara finished, and the explosion takes out half the shipping lanes in this quadrant. Convenient disaster. Brick locked his helmet into place with a hydraulic hiss. Then let's make it inconvenient. The shuttle docked with a groan and a lurch. Magnetic clamps struggling to find a solid connection on a hull pitted with scorch marks and decay. The airlock fought them, almost like it didn't want to open. Inside, Theta 12 was a ghost of itself. Dim emergency lights flickered across twisted support beams and warped bulkheads. Loose cabling hung like spider silk. A faint vibration pulsed through the metal floor, slow, steady, and ominous. Brick moved first, scanning the corridor ahead with a practiced sweep of his rifle. Movement up ahead. Something still alive in here. Survivors? Eli asked, hopeful. Doubt it. Amara muttered, checking her scanner. There's interference. Radiation's worse than expected. They pushed deeper. The central control room had been stripped bare, consoles smashed, mainframe gutted. But something else caught Amara's eye. Black scorch marks not from heat, but from acid. Corrosion laced with crystalline residues, spreading like infection. Not sabotage, she said slowly. Biological intrusion. Tasha muttered a curse. The Council knew. Before anyone could respond, a shriek echoed through the corridor behind them. High-pitched, organic, wrong. They spun around, weapons raised. What emerged was like a mantis bred with living glass, jagged limbs, translucent carapace, no eyes, but a head that turned and clicked with intent. It skittered low, fast, silent. Brick fired. The creature recoiled, its exoskeleton fracturing under the impact. Amara lobbed a charge from her utility belt. It detonated in a blast of EMP and shrapnel. The thing shrieked once more, then evaporated into shards. Eli stumbled back, pale. That wasn't on any database. Because it's not native, Amara said, voice low. The organism is silicon-based. Engineered, not evolved. Then why is it here? Tasha asked. Brick turned toward the ruined systems. Same reason we are. It's meant to finish the job. The team set to work, split across the station's crumbling wings. Brick took a maintenance shaft to reroute power. Amara examined the core stabilizer matrix. Tasha wormed into the auxiliary systems, eyes flicking as she hacked Council encryption with frightening ease. And Eli left to monitor environmental data, heard the pulse, not noise, not interference, a rhythm, a song, low, harmonic, steady, coming from the heart of the station. He tapped his mic. Guys, I think something's singing. Tasha snorted. That's the radiation eating your brain. No, it's deliberate. It's trying to sync with the core. Amara froze. You're saying that thing, the crystal life form, it's not hostile? Eli swallowed. I think it's warning us. The station's not failing on its own. Something's forcing it out of sync. Brick's voice crackled over comms. Then we bring it back in tune. The plan came together faster than it should have. Amara would access the harmonics array. Eli would translate the pulse. Tasha would reset the dampeners manually. And Brick? He'd go to the outer ring, through open space, to restart the venting sequence. By hand. You'll cook, Amara told him. Only if I'm slow, he replied, securing his suit. They worked in silence, the only sound the rising tempo of the star's fury. Tasha cursed as she bypassed a melted control junction. Council locked out everything vital. This wasn't incompetence. It was deliberate. They want us to fail, Amara whispered. Then let's disappoint them, Brick said. He jettisoned into space, tethered by a mag line, boots clamping onto the spinning edge of the station's ring. Flames danced below. He moved like a machine, methodical, efficient, utterly focused. Inside, Eli adjusted the frequencies, matching the pulse from the creature to the failing core. Amara rerouted the power channels, watching as once dead circuits flickered to life. Tasha overrode fail-safes the Council never meant to be touched. Then the alarms went silent. The station stabilized. And far beneath, the star quieted, for now. In the command deck, the four of them gathered again, sweat-soaked, blood-smeared, and staring at the quiet that followed. Tasha exhaled. We did it. No, Brick said, stepping in from the airlock. His suit steamed with residual heat. His visor was cracked, but his voice was clear. We bought time. Eli looked up. Time for what? Brick handed him a data core, pried from the deepest part of the station. This isn't just about sabotage. This was a setup. There's more coming. A pause. Then Amara said what they were all thinking. We were never meant to survive this. They didn't sleep. Not that anyone expected rest aboard a station previously used as a death trap. Instead, the four humans huddled in what remained of the observation deck. Once a pristine, panoramic chamber, now a scorched skeleton of its former self. Beyond the shattered viewport, the star Jorwin 5 pulsed with deceptive calm, the beast temporarily soothed. Amara bent over the data core Brick had salvaged, her fingers moving quickly across the projection keys. This encryption is brutal, layered, fractal-coded, council-grade, maybe black-tier military. Tasha peered over her shoulder, chewing on a stem tab. That's not surveillance data. It's warfare-grade. Whatever's in there, someone wanted buried. Or someone wanted found. Eli offered from a corner, legs folded beneath him as he reviewed structural schematics. Maybe the entire mission was bait. This station, those crystal creatures, all of it, an excuse to kill the right people in the wrong place. Brick didn't comment. He was watching the door, still suited, visor retracted, rifle across his lap. Tension bled off him in waves. A man not yet convinced the threat had passed. A chime echoed from the console. Amara straightened. I'm in. The hollow display bloomed into life. Lines of alien code scrolled, then resolved into images, files, and at the center, a pulsating icon labeled in council trade glyphs. Operation Harrowglass. Tasha whistled low. That's not subtle. Amara accessed the central file. A voice, filtered through heavy distortion, began to speak. Phase 1 successful. Deployment of the crystalline biomechanoids disrupted the station's stability. Native life forms confirmed eradicated. No traceable council signature. Mission assets en route to initiate containment narrative. Expect increased scrutiny from Terran delegation. Brick cut the audio. Bioweapons, he growled. Deployed by the council. on a civilian station, then left to rot with a fake distress call. Eli leaned forward, brows furrowed. But why frame us? What's the play? Destabilization, Amara said. Earth's gaining too much sympathy from fringe worlds. This makes us look like amateurs, or aggressors. And if we died here, Tasha added, the council would have blamed the station failure on human incompetence and tied a neat bow on it. Brick stood slowly. We need to get this back. Earth needs to see this. Everyone does. Amara's expression darkened. You're assuming the council lets us leave. They didn't wait for the answer. The station's long-range transmitter was toast, deliberately scorched during the initial sabotage, but the auxiliary launch hangar had short-range comms, and if they could reach it, a thump echoed through the corridor. Everyone froze. Another thump, closer this time. Wet, heavy, followed by the scrape of metal on metal. Eli whispered, wasn't that last creature the only one? Brick's voice was grim. No one said that. He motioned silently. Weapons came up. They moved like a single organism now, fear-hardened and battle-tested. The observation deck fell behind them as they slipped into the narrow access corridor. The creature that awaited them at the hangar wasn't like the first. It was larger, more developed. Its carapace shimmered with heat-resilient plating, semi-liquid limbs laced with nanofilament tendrils. It watched them with no eyes, shifting its weight in eerie silence. The same harmonic pulse Eli had heard before now rang louder, vibrating through the walls. Amara hissed, it's evolving. Or adapting, Eli muttered. It's not just a weapon. It's a prototype. Before anyone could react, it charged. Brick moved without hesitation, drawing the creature's focus as the others scattered. He met the charge head-on, ducking low, slamming an impact grenade to its underside as it lunged. The explosion staggered it, but didn't stop it. Tasha fired a shock pulse into its flank. Amara activated an environmental failsafe, flooding the hangar's side vent with cold gas, slowing the creature's movements. Eli yelled from the console, transmitters online but short range only. Send the data. Amara called, broadcast blind, someone hear it. The hangar shook as the creature turned toward Eli. Brick moved. He leapt from the platform, landing hard between Eli and the advancing monster. With one hand, he shoved Eli backward. With the other, he planted his last shaped charge into floor. Clear the room, he growled. Eli's eyes widened. You'll die. I've done worse. Tasha grabbed Eli, dragging him out. Amara lingered only a second longer. Brick met her eyes and gave the barest nod. Then the room erupted in fire. The transmission went out. The data core's contents dispersed through encrypted fragments launched on a scatter protocol toward any vessel within 2 parsecs. 1,000 seeds of truth, hurled into space like sparks from a dying fire. The team reconvened on the shuttle, silent, scorched, wounded, but not broken. Tasha broke the silence. He didn't die. Amara looked up. You saw. No. But that man doesn't die in explosions. He walks away from them. Eli offered a faint smile. Then we wait. But as the shuttle lifted off, Theta, 12 falling behind them like a failed memory, none of them spoke further. The weight of truth was heavier than silence. Far above, deep in the council's sealed chamber, Counselor Vrel observed the inbound transmission reports. One claw tapped against the marble floor. Another vote would be needed. Soon, the journey back to Terran Command was silent. Outside the shuttle's viewport, stars slid past in streaks of cold indifference. Inside, the atmosphere was taut, wounds bandaged, adrenaline faded, grief settling like sediment in the bones. Amara sat near the cockpit, watching static flicker on the comm screen. No reply to the data burst, she muttered. Not even a pingback. Either no one heard us or someone intercepted it first. Or someone ignored it, Tasha said darkly. She'd barely slept, her eyes sunken, her fingers twitching near her belt where her blade usually hung. Council sympathizers are embedded everywhere. Could be the signals flagged as propaganda before it even hit civilian relays. Eli, seated at the navigation terminal, swiveled his chair slightly. We did everything right. The truth's out there now. Someone will connect the fragments. Amara turned to him. We don't need fragments. We need leverage. Proof that can't be buried. Tasha glanced up. You mean brick? A long pause. Then Eli asked, do you really believe he survived? Amara didn't answer right away. She opened a palm, revealing a sliver of crystal, translucent, etched with faint, humming symbols. This was embedded in the data core. I think he knew he wouldn't make it, but he made sure something else did. Tasha leaned forward. Is that one of them? Eli frowned. The crystal biomechanoid? It's dormant. Not just dormant. Amara said softly. It's broadcasting. Low frequency. Non-directional. Like sonar. I think it's looking for others. Tasha stood abruptly. Then we jettison it. If the Council detects even a whisper of that signal, they'll intercept us before we hit orbit. But Amara closed her hand. No, it's not a weapon anymore. It's data. It remembers. It's a witness. Just then, the proximity alarm screamed. Red lights bathed the cockpit. Amara sprang to the console. Inbound signatures. 5 vessels. Council class. No insignia. Eli's voice dropped. Interceptors. Tasha cursed, then slid into the gunner's seat. We're not equipped for a dogfight. Amara hit the manual override. Then we don't fight. Running. Tasha asked incredulously. Diving. Amara corrected. Eli, how close are we to the Tarkle debris field? Eli blinked, then zoomed out the star chart. Close enough. But it's dense. Chaotic. You'll never thread a flight path manually. Amara gave a grim smile. Good thing I trust instinct. The shuttle plunged into the debris field like a stone into a broken mirror. Chunks of wrecked ships, forgotten satellites, and ancient battlefield remnants spun in silent chaos. The pursuing Council ships hesitated, then followed. Tasha let out a low whistle as a cruiser's wing clipped a derelict carrier and exploded in a muted bloom of light. This is insane. No, Amara whispered. This is human. For 10 harrowing minutes, they weaved and twisted, riding gravity pulses and broken trajectories. Eli rerouted power from life support to shields. Tasha fired flares and countermeasures. Amara flew like she was part of the machine. Then silence. The comms cleared. The signals vanished. Pursuit dropped, Eli confirmed. Either they lost us or weren't authorized to follow deeper. Doesn't matter, Amara said, setting a new course. We got a window. We hit Earth now or never. Tasha crossed her arms. And what? Just land a command and hand them a glowing crystal and conspiracy theory. Amara shook her head. Not command. The archives. Eli straightened. The core archives? That's restricted. Exactly. And completely off-grid. It's the one place the Council can't redact on short notice. Hours later, Earth loomed in the viewport, scarred, beautiful, stubbornly alive. As they entered atmosphere, the blue haze swallowed the stars behind them. The archives were buried beneath old Geneva, a city rebuilt thrice after the collapse. The team landed under cover of night, in an unregistered civilian dock. Cloaked, silent, Amara led them through service tunnels and derelict corridors, the crystal wrapped in lead foil, the silence between them growing heavier with each step. At last, they reached a vault. Steel, obsidian, and antique mechanisms fused with quantum locks. Tasha hacked the systems, bypassing retina scans and voice-locked doors with the grace of an artist. Inside, the core glowed. Thousands of data rods spun in slow orbit, like tiny comets caught in gravitational reverence. Amara stepped forward and placed the crystal at the nexus. It pulsed, and the archive responded. Holograms bloomed. Maps of stations, troop movements, biological logs, test sequences, council communiques, all buried data, now exposed by the crystal song. God, Eli whispered, this it's everything. Not just Theta 12. This is Harroglass in full. Every deployment, every death. Amara touched the file. A face appeared. Brick, not dead. Captured. Transmission from prison transport. Tasha read, eyes wide. Encrypted off-world. He's alive. Amara turned to them, jaw set. We go after him. Eli nodded. We can't do it alone. No, she said, but we won't be alone for long. Behind them, the core system sent out a ping, an ancient code, once used to summon wartime allies. A code now reborn.